How an arrogant doctor's marriage turned into an incredible journey of transformation. Dr. Matthew Reynolds stood in the bright, sterilized corridor of St. Francis Hospital, a sharp contrast to the warmth that lingered at home. His reputation preceded him. The best surgeon in the Midwest, they said. But what they didn't see were the empty spaces behind his surgical mask, the shadows of his choices, and the frantic ticking of ambition as he cornered his life to clinical excellence, leaving the emotional connections behind. Night after night, he celebrated victories over time, believing that accolades would drown the bitter echo of his wife's silence. Each day, the smell of Emily's fresh-baked bread welcomed him home, a comforting facade. But beneath the surface, an insistent nagging unease loomed. What can I offer her, he often wondered, faced with the reality of a marriage slowly eroding under the relentless tide of his ego. The accolades that filled his office felt like chains, and Emily's laugh faded as shadows crept in, lurking as reminders of her own unfulfilled dreams. He couldn't remember the last time they shared a real conversation. Their discussions had devolved into logistics about children, school runs, soccer practices, while he remained tethered to a world stitched together by accolades and the triumphs of saving lives. Still, he didn't fully grasp the cost of his obsession. Emily's dreams of wielding a brush lay abandoned, lost in the familial demands he never acknowledged. At times, Matthew felt an unsettling dread gnawing at him, knowing that something fundamental had shifted. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That stormy night was an inflection point, the kind that struck suddenly, leaving no room for avoidance. The crack of thunder under an ominous sky mirrored the turmoil brewing within Emily. Her voice broke through the heavy silence, imbued with a mixture of fury and despair. You're so focused on saving others that you've forgotten how to love your own family. Each word cut through the air like a scalpel, sharp, painful, and impossible to ignore. Matthew faltered. Her accusation echoed within him, his heart thundering like the storm outside. Had he truly lost sight of what mattered most? The realization hit him with crippling weight. In her struggle, he could almost see the woman he had married, the passionate artist buried beneath layers of obligation. As he watched her retreat to the solitude of their bedroom, the unsettling fear of losing her gripped him. He was caught in a vice. Torn between the sterile halls of surgery and the vibrant realm of human connection, Matthew stood there in the dim light, uncertainty wrapping around him like a straitjacket. Could he, the revered surgeon, confront the vulnerability required to connect with the woman hiding behind her paint-smeared walls? Torn, he glanced at the few gentle strokes of color she'd left behind, remnants of a life not just lived, but dreamed. As the atmosphere thickened with tension, he sensed that the journey ahead would demand more than he ever anticipated, an uncharted territory not marked by surgical precision, but by the bold, chaotic strokes of love and fear intermingled. Would he dare to embrace it all? Would he finally see her? The weight of silence enveloped him as Matthew sank into the worn fabric of their living room couch, the remnants of their earlier confrontation echoing through his mind. It was suffocating, yet it also felt like the first breath of fresh air he'd had in weeks. He could still see the flicker of anger in Emily's eyes, a reflection of her disappointment and yearning. In that moment, he had glimpsed her true self, a woman filled with color and creativity, but also one who had been stifled by his relentless pursuit of success. Matthew shifted uneasily, glancing at the scattered art supplies on the coffee table, a canvas half finished, brushes caked with dried paint, and tubes of vibrant hues crowded beside each other, begging to be used. It was a stark reminder of the life Emily had wanted to lead. With every accolade adorning his office wall, he had erected a barrier between them, one that transformed her passion into a mere shadow of an alternate universe denied to her. He remembered their early years, the laughter, the late-night talks filled with dreams unfurling in vibrant splendor. How desperately he missed that person. As a surgeon, he had often found himself facing the delicate dance between life and death, but this emotional landscape felt distinctly more challenging. How could he navigate this terrain that required empathy, understanding, and vulnerability? Suddenly, a flicker of determination ignited within him. The moment of reckoning had come. Rather than viewing the impending challenge with anxiety, Matthew assessed it as an opportunity for growth. What would happen if he dared to open the door that led him into Emily's world? Would it be possible to peel back the layers of distance he had wrapped around himself and her? He needed to find out. First, he would have to confront his own fears, most notably his fear of inadequacy. His career had been defined by mastery over his craft, while emotional matters had always seemed nebulous, almost foreign. Alone, a surgeon could achieve greatness. Together with Emily, they might rekindle the spark that ignited their bond. The thought filled him with a blend of hope and trepidation. He rose from the couch, glancing out the window. The storm had subsided, making way for a clear night sky. An idea struck him. A visit to Emily's favorite art supply store, a small, locally owned shop known for its eclectic mix of materials. He would gather a few supplies, then surprise her, igniting the enthusiasm for art that he had let dwindle. This would be his first step to mend the frayed connections. But as he dressed, doubt crept in, whispering that she might reject his efforts, that his history of neglect would echo louder than his intentions. Still, the fear of losing this connection propelled him forward. He had watched too many lives slip away in surgery to let love slip through his fingers. Outside, the cool air rushed to greet him, a brisk reminder that he was stepping out of the sterile confines of his profession into the chaos of emotional reality. Each step towards the car felt heavier, but with each step he embraced his choice, pushing aside the doubts that pounded within him. He would no longer shy away from this impending vulnerability. As he drove, he could feel the tension coiling and uncoiling in rhythm with his heartbeat. Would he be able to reach her? The thought became his sole focus, overriding the anxieties of potential failure that haunted him thus far. Arriving at the store, he pushed through the door, an undeniable excitement churning with uncertainty. Inside, he recognized the atmosphere of inspiration humming in the air, felt the electric charge of potential. Would this small act be enough to dismantle years of distance? As choices loomed before him, color, texture, tools, the answer rested in his hands, a testament to his desire to grow beyond his self-imposed confines. But just as he gathered his supplies, a familiar voice broke through the intensive focus on the art around him, one that he had hoped to avoid and yet secretly anticipated. "Matthew?" The tone rang with surprise, shaking him from the whirlwind of creativity. He turned slowly, prepared to face an unexpected confrontation. Would this moment fracture his resolve, or could it become a gateway to reconciliation? Matthew's heart raced as he faced the source of the voice, a mixture of dread and anticipation swirling within him. The woman before him, Lucy, a colleague from the hospital, had always epitomized professionalism and strength. Their paths had intersected countless times in the sterile halls of medicine, discussing cases, strategizing life-saving protocols, but never had their conversations touched the core of his personal life. She had no reason to be in the art supply store, a fact that struck him like a lightning bolt. "Lucy," he managed to say, masking the turmoil brewing beneath his composure.
He fumbled through his thoughts, racing to maintain his facade of confidence. A part of him wanted to dismiss her. This was supposed to be his venture into Emily's world, a first tentative step toward nurturing what was left of their once vibrant connection. She looked at him with eyes that held a depth of understanding, a subtle hint of empathy. "I had no idea you were into
art," she remarked, glancing at the supplies in his hands, an array of vivid colors and textured canvases. The way she said it felt probing, as if she could see right through him, identifying the layers of conflict he had yet to peel away. "It's for Emily," he confessed before he could second-guess himself, the admissions spilling freely. "I want to support her again, to make things right." The silence hung heavy between them, an unexpected vulnerability revealed. Lucy studied him, her expression shifting from surprise to something closer to admiration. "That's a brave thing to do, Matthew. It's not easy to confront the distance in relationships." The honesty in her words struck a nerve. For the first time, he felt trapped between professional persona and personal reality. A surgeon could maneuver through life's crises with precision and skill, but here, in a colorful chaos of art supplies, his clinical detachment faltered under emotional scrutiny. "I don't know how to do this," he murmured, staring at the vibrant tubes of paint as if they held the secrets he sought. "I've spent so long trying to succeed in my career that I forgot to be present for her." The admission felt raw, stripped of pretense, a revelation to himself. Lucy's brows knitted as she leaned against a nearby shelf, the friendliness in her demeanor somehow grounding. "You know, Matthew, it takes courage to acknowledge that. Most people would rather stay oblivious rather than confront their failures." A calmness washed over him, interspersed with the persistent anxiety that still gripped his heart. The competitive edge that fueled his career felt distant in this context. In the sterile environment of the operating room, he commanded situations with unwavering confidence. Yet here, amid colors and creativity, he was unsure, raw. "I've seen too many lives in surgery, yet I've neglected the most important life of all, my own, and that of the woman I love," he admitted, his voice steadying. This moment of honesty felt more transformative than any surgical triumph. "Then don't waste time," Lucy urged, the intensity in her gaze magnetic. "What will you do next?" The question catalyzed a flurry of thoughts. Would supporting Emily's passion reignite their connection? He could define his path forward. Perhaps openness would replace the walls he had built, allowing him to explore uncharted territories of intimacy, something he had practiced with skill in his profession, but failed in love. "Start by showing up," she advised, her voice softening. "Art is about exploration and vulnerability, the very things you're terrified of. Embrace them." A surge of determination welled up within him. Perhaps this was more than an art supply run. Perhaps it could be the beginning of a personal renaissance. He cleared his throat. "I will give this my all." As he left the store, a newfound energy propelled him forward. He would embrace his vulnerability, even though it brought fear and hesitation. The road ahead was uncertain, marked by choices laden with potential heartbreak or joy. Just as he reached his car, the looming question nagged at the back of his mind. Would Emily be receptive to this renewed effort? The prospect both terrified and excited him. And what awaited him on the other side? What might emerge from this confrontation of their shared past? As he reached for the car door, driven by the urgency to act, he felt the thrilling weight of anticipation settle in. He was prepared to face the reckoning their relationship demanded. The moment of truth had begun, but the real challenge awaited upon his return to Emily. Would she see the transformation in him? And could rekindled love bridge the gulf that time and neglect had carved between them? Matthew sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel with a mix of anticipation and trepidation.
The paint and canvas he had purchased lay in the back seat, reminders of his commitment to rekindle his relationship with Emily. The intensity of the moment weighed on him, swirling the thoughts that jostled for clarity in his mind. How would he begin? What phrases would restore the connection they had lost? As he started the engine, Matthew couldn't shake the disquiet bubbling below his surface. When was the last time he had truly listened to her, to the intricate nuances of her life and passions? The hospital had trained him to focus on the surgical field, the urgency of the operating room consuming his time and energy. Yet now, faced with the prospect of openness, he understood that he had a patient in a different sense, a relationship requiring tenderness and care. What if he was too late? Regret gnawed at him as he pulled into Emily's driveway. He hesitated for a moment, then stepped out of the car, determination pouring into each stride toward the front door. As he approached, he noted the blooming flowers in her garden, vibrant splashes of color mirroring the pigments in the art supply bags. A symbolic reminder that beauty flourished where attention was given. At the door, he raised a hand, then paused. The flicker of doubt shot through him. Was he truly equipped for this? The arrogance that accompanied years of medical success felt like a distant heaviness, replaced now by a cloak of vulnerability. He rapped gently on the door, the sound punctuating the stillness of that afternoon. Emily opened the door, her expression blank for a heartbeat before it shifted to one of surprise. She looked as if time had splashed muted colors upon her face, the years of distance evident in her guarded stance. "Matthew," she said, the name lingering between them. It echoed against the backdrop of what had been and what might yet be. "I brought you something," he started, motioning toward the supplies. "I know art is important to you, and I want to share in that." Her gaze dropped momentarily to the bags, the recognition evident. A swell of emotion flickered in her eyes, an almost imperceptible spark of curiosity amongst the hesitation. "Why now?" she challenged softly. It was a fair question, one that struck him with an urgency that demanded vulnerability. "Because I've realized that success in surgery doesn't equate to success in my life," he admitted. "I need to be here for you, to know the woman behind the canvases and colors. I want to understand you again." A silence fell, thick with the weight of their shared history. Matthew internalized every moment, every shared memory, the awkward laughter, the fights rooted in misunderstandings, each one a stitch in the fabric of their bond. His hands fidgeted slightly, the urge to retreat flaring within him as he gauged her response. "Matthew, it's not just about the art," she replied, her voice steady yet delicate. "It's about the time lost, the conversations we never had, the moments we brushed off as unimportant." The admission sank deep. He had neglected these nuances, had let the demands of his career eclipse the intimacy they once shared, a negligence that led to apathy. In her gaze, he saw a reflection of his own inner battle, a yearning to reconnect forged through mutual pain. "I want to change that," he said at last, embracing this newfound clarity. Each word resonated deeper within him. "I'm ready to put in the work if you are." His heart raced with an uncharacteristic blend of fear and hope. This was his moment, and failure was no longer an option. Matthew wanted to rebuild, brick by brick, with the raw materials of vulnerability and engagement. Emily shifted slightly, her defenses softening as she met his eyes. "I want to believe you," she said finally, her voice a fragile promise entangled in suspense. But even as he felt that familiar spark of connection, he sensed the hesitance lingering in her stance. The road ahead was fraught with uncertainty. The process of healing was complex and layered. He took a step closer, ready to invite her into the world of art he had only recently begun to explore with intention. "Let's start together," he suggested, the words emerging not as a question but as a commitment. Before she could respond, a realization struck him with clarity. What if rekindling their shared passion wasn't enough? What if there were deeper wounds they still had to face? Those thoughts collided with his determination, forcing him to confront the true nature of his journey ahead. The moment was fragile, trembling between hope and fear, the past sitting heavily on their shoulders as they stood poised on the edge of potential renewal. But soon he would have to face the deeper underlying issues that had driven them apart, issues laden with unspoken hurts and unmet expectations. "Emily," he ventured cautiously, "are you ready to talk about everything?" There it was, the crux of his journey, hanging in the air between them, poised to unravel all that they had neglected. Matthew's heart thundered in his chest, the weight of his question settling like a rock in the air between them. Emily's eyes darted away, her body language shifting, grappling with the implications of his inquiry. He knew he had taken a risk. It was a threshold they now stood on together, and the ground felt uncertain beneath his feet. "Everything?" she echoed, her expression unreadable. "That's a lot." He sensed the tension creeping back in, the barriers he had aimed to dismantle solidifying in response to the gravity of the moment. A part of him hesitated, questioning whether this was the right approach after all. Perhaps he should have sidestepped the heavier topics for now, focused instead on the vibrant colors that united them in artistry. Yet he had committed himself, and the stakes felt too high to trivialize the rawness of their situation. "I know it is," he replied, striving for steadiness in his voice. "But if we don't confront these issues, how will we ever move forward?" Her gaze flickered back to him, incredulity mingling with vulnerability. "And what makes you think I even want to move forward with you?" It was a shot, sharp and immediate, but underneath it lay a tremor of pleading. The desire to have this conversation, yet shield herself from the potential fallout. "Because I've missed you, Emily," he confessed, his simplicity stripping away layers of unnecessary bravado. "I've been so focused on my career that I neglected what truly matters, the connection between us. You deserve more than half measures and avoidance." His statement, though authentic, felt like a declaration of war against the past milestones they had stumbled over. Her lips pressed together, deep in thought. It was a pause that felt timeless. Matthew wrestled with self-doubt, a nagging fear creeping back in. What if he was pushing too hard, too soon? What if his journey was veering toward disaster rather than healing? "You may have missed me," Emily replied, her voice softer now, "but can you understand the way I felt these past few years? It's like I was living in black and white while you were out there coloring the world with your brilliance." "I know I've let you down," he admitted, every word falling from his lips weighed down by remorse. "I should have been there to help you add those splashes of color back into your life, not just thrown paint on a canvas and hoped it would fix everything." For a fleeting moment, a flicker of understanding crossed her face, illuminating the depths of shared pain. Yet even as connection simmered at the edges, clouds of doubt continued to gather. Issues of communication, commitment, and deeper fears lingered like shadows. "Matthew, intentions alone aren't enough to erase the years of silence," she said, her voice steady though her eyes glimmered with unshed tears. "You can't just sweep everything under a rug and expect our relationship to re-emerge as it once was. It takes more than just passion for art. It requires trust and rebuilding, piece by piece." The gravity of her words struck him like a physical blow. Trust. So much of it had eroded over time, leaving fractures in their foundation. He had become complacent, relying on the vibrancy of his career to fill the void that had grown between them. It was an epiphany, stark and illuminating. The realization that the path they would have to traverse would be far more intricate than he had anticipated. "I don't want to diminish what we've been through. Your pain matters," Matthew responded, feeling the urgency of his journey swell inside him. And if rebuilding takes time, I'm committed to staying in this process until the groundwork is laid. I will earn your trust again." A pause enveloped the room, and in those moments, Matthew contemplated the vulnerability required for authenticity, shifting away from the authoritative doctor role into a more human, flawed counterpart. He realized that opening up was not a weakness, but an act of genuine strength. A painful evolution awaited. But just as they seemed to connect, a shadow flickered in her expression, and he felt the tide turning once more. "What if you don't find what you hoped for in this process?" she ventured, her words laced with skepticism. "What if we dive in only to find that the path is filled with more darkness than light?" His stomach twisted, recognition washing over him. Her fear echoed his own. What would happen if the colors of their past faded into the darkness of unrecoverable hurt? Yet he felt a resolute fury igniting deep within, compelling him to confront that vulnerability head-on. "Emily," he said slowly, grounding himself in the moment, "what if I'm willing to face that darkness with you? Because I can't imagine ending this journey with anything less than your truth, however painful it may be. I'm willing to navigate it all together." The tension between them shifted, charged with a palpable energy. They both stood at a pivotal juncture, poised to embark on a deep exploration neither had anticipated. But just as Matthew began to sense a breakthrough, a sudden realization struck him like lightning. What if it wasn't just their relationship that needed mending, but aspects of himself he had shielded away during years of intensity and focus? As he searched Emily's eyes, a question forged itself in that elusive gap between them. "Do you think understanding ourselves more deeply could be the key to restoring us both?" he asked, willing to peel back layers not only of their relationship, but of his own identity. In the silence that followed, Matthew could feel the weight of her response lifting the air between them. But he couldn't shake the sense that even greater challenges awaited just beyond this engagement of shared vulnerability. Matthew's mind raced, the echo of his own question reverberating in his ears. The prospect of deeper self-exploration ignited a flicker of excitement within him, mingled with apprehension. If he sought to truly understand Emily, he would first have to confront the shadowed areas of his own identity, a task he had long avoided. As he searched Emily's eyes, a question forged itself in that elusive gap between them. "Do you think understanding ourselves more deeply could be the key to restoring us both?" he asked, willing to peel back layers not only of their relationship, but of his own identity. In the silence that followed, Matthew could feel the weight of her response lifting the air between them, but he couldn't shake the sense that even greater challenges awaited just beyond this engagement of shared vulnerability. Matthew's mind raced, the echo of his own question reverberating in his ears. The prospect of deeper self-exploration ignited a flicker of excitement within him, mingled with apprehension. If he sought to truly understand Emily, he would first have to confront the shadowed areas of his own identity, a task he had long avoided. In the silence that followed, Matthew could feel the weight of her response lifting the air between them, but he couldn't shake the sense that even greater challenges awaited just beyond this engagement of shared vulnerability. Matthew's mind raced, the echo of his own question reverberating in his ears. The prospect of deeper self-exploration ignited a flicker of excitement within him, mingled with apprehension. If he sought to truly understand Emily, he would first have to confront the shadowed areas of his own identity, a task he had long avoided in pursuit of professional triumphs. He had defined himself by accolades and advancements, each triumph a stroke of paint on the canvas of his career. But now, as he stood before the woman who had been the heart of his life, he recognized he had forgotten to paint the intricate details of his own being. He wanted to reach out, to embrace the vulnerable pieces of himself, the insecurities, the ambitions tucked away under layers of professional facade. What would it take to sift through that complexity? "Let's try," Matthew said, surprising himself with the earnestness that infused his voice. "Let's uncover those truths that we've been avoiding, for ourselves as individuals and for us together." Emily blinked, processing his words, her vulnerability flaring to life once more. "You mean it?" There was a tremor in her voice, a mixture of hope and disbelief. "I do," he affirmed, drawing a breath to steady himself. The decision made felt almost monumental, like a step onto a winding road laced with both trepidation and exhilaration. What better way to understand where we stand than to confront the depths of our experiences, collectively and separately? For too long, I've merely skimmed the surface, avoiding the fights within. I want to unearth those buried parts of ourselves, the pieces that make us whole. He watched as she absorbed his words, a shift palpable in her posture. The tension in the room twisted into something more constructive, the potential for resurrection glimmering between them. "I can't promise a smooth path," she stated, clarity edging into her tone. "But I'm willing to explore. It's daunting, Matthew." Intimate honesty often came at a cost, and they both understood the significant labor of love that lay ahead. Bumps, detours, and perhaps even a few dead ends awaited them. Yet an unanticipated determination surged through him. Facing the unknown felt less like an obstacle and more like a blank canvas waiting to be splashed with new revelations. "Yes, daunting," he echoed, grounding himself in the reality of this shared journey. "But I would rather embrace the struggle than live in silence. It's time to strip away the walls and show the threads that bind our respective stories." Matthew felt the rush of commitment. He was ready to break down the barriers of his ingrained habits and societal expectations. This process wouldn't be easy, but it was necessary. As he locked eyes with Emily, he glimpsed a glimmer of the profound connection that could emerge when they both committed to authenticity. "Then, let's do it," she said, her voice a steady anchor. "No more hiding. We uncover who we are, together." He felt a swell of energy in that very moment, something deeper than just optimism. It was the dawning realization that personal transformation often stemmed from embracing discomfort, a willingness to traverse unfamiliar territory. Maybe, just maybe, the art of healing could transcend the physical canvas and paint the very fabric of their existence. The prospect of redefinition excited him. Yet doubts still lurked in the corners of his mind. Would he be able to confront not just his past failures, but also the entrenched beliefs that had held him captive? Could he dismantle the false narratives he had created around his self-worth? "Then face it," a voice within him urged. "Dive headlong into your own depths before reaching for hers." As he pondered those sentiments, a sudden fear grasped his gut. What if the revelations uncovered were too painful? What if his past never aligned with the vivid potential of their future? "Emily," he said hesitantly, the words stumbling past his lips, "what if we discover that we're fundamentally different from the people we once were?" "What if?" she replied, an encouraging smile breaking the tension. "That might be the very honesty we need." Their exchange created the first tentative fabric of renewal, a promise that the journey ahead would be arduous yet rewarding. In this moment, Matthew committed fully, not merely to Emily, but to himself. He stepped forward, ready to explore the gallery of his own soul. Yet, as the night deepened and the shadows twitched around them, a lingering doubt whispered. What if both of them had changed so drastically that they struggled to remember the art they once created together? In that uncertainty, a sense of urgency ignited within him, propelling him forward. The canvas of his life awaited bold strokes. But would he wield the brush with conviction when it mattered most? The next chapter loomed on the horizon, a blend of shadows and light. But Matthew knew one thing for sure. He had to face the darkest corners inside himself before he could illuminate the path for both of them. And so he resolved, let's meet back here tomorrow. The journey starts now. The following day felt like an awakening. Matthew stood before the mirror, assessing the person reflecting back at him. The morning's light filtered through the window but couldn't dispel the weight bearing down on his shoulders. Today was the first step into the unknown territory of his own psyche, where the past and present would collide and reshape his identity. As he prepared for the day, he couldn't shake the urgency of their conversation. He had made a commitment not just to Emily, but to a deeper understanding of himself. His career had always thrived on precision and calculation, but this venture demanded messiness, vulnerability, and an unpredictable emotional landscape. Each aspect of his identity he had ignored now loomed larger than life. He arrived at their chosen meeting place, a quaint cafe that embodied individuality with quirky decor and ambient chatter. It felt like a refreshing contrast to the sterile environments of boardrooms he was so accustomed to. Sitting at their table, he tapped his fingers rhythmically, a manifestation of his anxiety about the discussions that awaited them. Emily arrived moments later, her expression a cocktail of eagerness and trepidation that mirrored his own. They exchanged nervous smiles, but the atmosphere shifted as the weight of their mutual intent settled between them. "I know we said to just dive in, but where do we start?" Matthew asked, the words tumbling out before he could censor them. He wanted to project confidence, but inside, his uncertainty bubbled to the surface. "Maybe with the things we've always held back," she suggested quietly, her eyes darting to the floor as if the tiles held answers to their unasked questions. "I think we should talk about how we see ourselves, what we actually want, and the fears tethering us from moving forward." Her words struck a chord deep within him. He had spent years building an image, a tapestry thick with accolades and heroic moments, and yet here he was, stripped down and vulnerable. Could he articulate the deeper thoughts that had battled for air all this time? "I've always prided myself on my achievements," Matthew confessed, the sound of his voice unfamiliar in the honesty it carried. "But there's a nagging idea that maybe I used those accomplishments to cover up feelings of inadequacy. Like, without them, who am I?" Emily's gaze didn't waver, and he found strength in her unwavering focus. "I think who you are and what you've achieved aren't the same. But what do you want beneath that facade? What happens when you're less doctor? What's left?" He pondered her question, realizing it indicated a territory he had never explored, his aspirations beyond the accolades, a world of intimate desires confined for so long. "I want to be recognized for being more than just my title. I want purpose, connection, to truly express myself without the constraints of expectations." They fell into a rhythm of dialogue, exchanging revelations like delicate treasures unearthed from the depths of their minds. Each vulnerable admission poured life into the space between them, creating a playground of renewed intimacy that flickered brightly against the shadows of doubt they still carried. Yet as the conversation deepened, each unveiling came with the burden of inevitable discomfort. Matthew confronted memories of his impatience, the moments when he had brushed Emily's feelings aside in pursuit of professional success. "I've let ambition blind me," he admitted, pain etched in the contours of his voice. "I always thought that success defined worth, but now I worry that I've robbed us of the life we could have built together." Emily sighed, the lines of worry creasing her brow. "Maybe this is where my disappointment stemmed from too. I lost myself in supporting you while pushing my dreams aside. And now, I wonder who I've become." A palpable silence enveloped their words, heavy with the acknowledgement of their shared struggle. They sat with that vulnerability, transforming it from a weight into a catalyst for healing. As the cafe buzzed around them, Matthew's heart raced with the realization that they were no longer the individuals they had once been. Both had stepped into trodden paths that needed to diverge to create something renewed. "Tomorrow," he said finally, a sense of new resolve unfolding within him. "Let's bring 3 poignant moments from our lives, the ones that ignited our ambitions, but also the ones that brought us pain. We'll face them together." As Emily nodded, Matthew felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. This journey was just beginning, a grassroots transformation of their beings. Yet shadows still loomed. Would confronting such raw memories only fracture the newly found connection? With that question hanging in the air, a bittersweet blend of anticipation and concern coursed through him. Tomorrow would be pivotal. Their past wouldn't stay buried for much longer. Matthew awoke the next morning with an electric pulse of anticipation racing through him. It was different from the familiar rhythm of his clinical routine. Today, he wasn't preparing for a surgery or a meeting. He was preparing to excavate the buried layers of his own identity alongside Emily. There was a peculiar thrill in the air, an exhilarating blend of fear and determination permeating his thoughts. The sun peeked through the window, wrapping him in warmth, but it also illuminated the restless shadows within him, shadows he was finally ready to confront. He spent his shower trying to recapture the sense of resolve he had felt just hours prior. Each drop of water felt like a cascading reminder of the transformation he was about to embark upon, brushing away not just the dirt from his skin, but also the years of emotional buildup he'd rather keep in the dark. The notion of dissecting his past reverberated in his mind, a melody that shifted in tone with each consideration. What if those moments he had chosen to illuminate were inseparable from equal parts pain? The weight of this impending revelation clung to him, uncomfortable yet promising. The cafe welcomed him anew, a sanctuary cloaked in the aroma of fresh coffee and the warmth of welcoming smiles. The barista's laughter echoed in the air, a stark contrast to the gravity that now rested on Matthew's shoulders. It reminded him that for every heaviness there existed light, and he chose to step toward that possibility. As his eyes met Emily's across the room, her determination painted a picture of solidarity that fortified his spirit. She wore an expression of fierce bravery, casting aside previous hesitation as they both stepped into this undertaking. "Ready?" she asked, as they settled into their usual corner table, her demeanor both inquisitive and supportive. "Ready as I'll ever be," Matthew replied, each word an unsteady step toward vulnerability. "Let's start with the moments that shaped us, the triumphs and the trials." Emily nodded, and silence draped over them, thick with expectation. He hesitated, unsure of how to navigate the jagged terrain his mind had become. "I guess I'll begin." The first flicker of revelation struck with clarity, piercing through the fog of unease. "There was this one night in medical school," he began, his voice tentative at first but gaining strength. "It was our final exams, and everyone was panicking. I was so focused on being the best that I didn't notice my roommate, Claire, struggling with her coursework." Matthew paused, the weight of guilt anchoring him. "She called me several times for help, and I brushed her off with, 'I'm too busy.' She failed that exam, and it shattered her confidence. I learned that day that my ambition had a cost. It could easily crush others beneath it. That moment still haunts me." Emily's eyes glimmered with understanding. "That sounds hard," she replied softly, the compassion in her voice urging him to dive deeper. "I never wanted to be that person, but somewhere along the way, I lost sight of how my actions affected those around me," he continued, the echoes of regret intertwining with his resolve. "I let ambition dictate my value." A flicker of shared recognition passed between them. Emily's brows furrowed, and she took a deep breath. I remember similar moments. There was a chance to take a year off to travel after college, but I didn't. Instead, I supported your education, and I let my dreams quietly fade. That choice made me feel selfish at times, but also lost, like I abandoned the life I could have lived. Matthew felt the wave of her admission wash over him, a shroud that tethered their collective pain. Yet it ignited an even fiercer realization within him. They were not alone in this. They shared a tapestry of choices, a narrative crafted through their individual hopes and fears. Maybe what's important now is to remember that past doesn't have to dictate our future. Emily nodded, her expression shifting to one of determination. Let's not only confront these moments, but also decide how we can grow beyond them. Feeling buoyed by their revelations, Matthew sensed a powerful shift. Each memory they'd unearthed tied them more tightly together, grounding their connection amidst the gritty realities they faced. "What if we made a pact?" he suggested, his pulse quickening. "For every painful moment we share today, we each identify a lesson that allows us to redefine our futures, an opportunity to reshape our choices," Emily affirmed, her voice reflecting newfound conviction. As they began to map their emotional landscapes, Matthew felt transformation take root in the fertile soil of vulnerability. This journey promised to strip away the layers of emotional armor he had clung to for so long. Yet a voice in the back of his mind persisted. Would confrontation reveal too much? "We're just getting started," he told himself, steeling for the weight of what lay ahead. How would they each confront the ghosts of their pasts? Would they emerge united, or would the shadows fracture their foundation? As Emily prepared to raise her next moment, uncertainty loomed large, the stakes rising in tandem with their fear. Matthew's thoughts swirled like the patterns in the steam rising from their coffees as he stared at the swirling liquid in his cup. The stakes had grown, and he realized that facing the past wasn't merely an excavation, it was a reckoning. He had opened a door to his history, and while he could feel the warmth of sunlight on his skin, the shadows lingered just beyond, a constant reminder of the turmoil that lay ahead. Emily took a deep breath, breaking the heavy silence that enveloped them. What was it about ambition that drew you in so completely? Her question sliced through his thoughts with precision. The tension between their shared past and the uncertain promise of the future flared in him, challenging him to confront not just his career aspirations, but the emotional void that often accompanied them. "I suppose ambition was my identity," he said slowly, his tongue tasting each word. "But I must confess, it often felt like a mask, an armor to shield me from vulnerability, from asking for help. It was safer to stay busy rather than delve into feelings or relationships. I thought it would ensure success." Did it? Emily's gaze bore into him, her probing eyes sparking something deep within. Did it really lead to success? Or did it just isolate you? The question hung like a pendulum, swinging through the air, exposing the fractures in his defenses. Matthew recognized the truth in her words, a truth he had skirted for too long. "It isolated me," he admitted, the resignation creeping into his tone. "I built walls instead of bridges. Every accolade I earned felt less meaningful when I realized they came at the expense of the people around me." As he articulated his struggle, a wave of weightiness lifted slightly. Admitting his reality was the first step toward evolving beyond it. Sharing this journey was undeniably terrifying, yet it carved a path forward, beginning to untangle the threads of his tightly woven existence. Emily's voice faded as she leaned closer, her expression earnest. "You know, this isn't just about confronting the past. It's about discovering what we're capable of moving forward. We're unraveling our stories, but we can reshape them." Her words rippled through him, igniting a sense of both trepidation and hope. "Right," he replied, his pulse quickening with conviction. "What if we explored what resilience looks like for each of us? What if we examined not only where we fell short, but also what we did right? Let's dive into our strengths." Her eyes lit up, and the energy shifted in the room, wrapping them both in an invigorating glow. "I love that idea. Strengths we discovered despite the struggles or the moments when we felt lost." Matthew considered her proposal. Each success, no matter how small, had been an anchor during a turbulent time. "There was a time when I volunteered at the free clinic during my residency. Every Saturday, I'd scrub in to help those who couldn't afford care. It felt good to be connected to something greater than myself, to know I'd made a difference, however small." He paused, navigating through the fog of his memories. "Those moments grounded me. They reminded me
Why I wanted to become a doctor in the first place." "That's beautiful," Emily said, a soft smile gracing her features. "It shows that you're not just an ambitious doctor, but someone striving to connect deeply with others." He felt a flicker of pride at her acknowledgement, a flicker that he knew he needed to explore further. "Those connections give me purpose. They help balance the ambition that occasionally tries to drown me out." Just as Matthew embraced the warmth of self-revelation, a shadow flickered in his mind, a dark reminder of the sacrifices he had made along the way. But did I do that for the right reasons? Was my self-worth tied to how I showed up at the clinic instead of at home? The question struck him like a thunderclap, displacing the lingering pride and reminding him of the emotional cost. This inner inquiry nurtured a growing sense of urgency within him. The stakes felt heightened, yet he pushed through, fueled by the realization that confronting his deepest doubts could illuminate a clearer path forward. "Let's do this," he said, taking a deep breath. "Let's unpack our strengths, but be ready to embrace the complexities within. We can't skip over the hard stuff if we want to reshuffle the narrative. We must face the reality that we may have to forge new identities from the ashes of our pasts." Emily nodded, her resolve matching his newfound determination. They had set a course into uncertain waters, one that promised growth, but also unearthed the rawness of their history. "What if," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "this is the moment when we stop letting our past define us, but rather allow it to guide us?" As the possibilities coalesced around them, Matthew understood one irrefutable truth. Embracing their shared narrative meant stepping not only into their strengths, but also into the depths of their insecurities. He felt courage swell within him, a gust propelling them through this transformative odyssey. And just as they prepared to dive deeper, a flicker of uncertainty flicked through his mind. Was he truly ready to face what lay ahead? What truths awaited them on the horizon? And would they have the strength to turn their emerging vulnerability into a powerful catalyst for lasting change? The sun rose with a sense of promise, illuminating the kitchen where Matthew sat alone, the remnants of last night's emotional excavation still resonating within him. He glanced at the canvas Emily had been working on, a colorful representation of a vibrant landscape, colors swirling just as his thoughts now did. The commitment they'd forged hung heavy in the air. It was time to follow through, no matter how daunting the task ahead seemed. With newfound clarity guiding him, Matthew reached for his phone to invite Emily to join him for a walk. They had agreed to face their pasts, but this morning it felt crucial to commune with nature first. There was something inherently healing about the outdoor world, the way sunlight filtered through the leaves, the rhythms of nature interlocking with the cadence of human experience. In a few minutes, Emily arrived, her expression a blend of excitement and trepidation. "What's on the agenda today?" she asked, a lilt of curiosity in her voice. "I thought a walk by the river could be a good place to start," he replied, feeling a surge of hope. We can reflect on our conversation and see where it takes us." As they walked, the cool breeze carried the faint scent of blooming flowers, nudging them both into the present moment. Mingling with the sounds of the river flowing nearby, Matthew began to feel the tension in his shoulders ease. The natural world reminded him that growth often came through discomfort, a fact he had known as a surgeon, yet one he had neglected in the intimacy of his life. "Last night was intense," he acknowledged as they strolled side by side. "Do you think we're prepared to confront those past moments we've held on to for so long?" "I think so," Emily replied, keeping her gaze on the water that danced beneath the sun. "But what if those painful memories prompt deep-seated wounds?" Matthew considered her words. "Addressing those wounds is part of the healing process. Holding on to them keeps us shackled to who we were instead of who we could become." They reached a small overlook where they paused to admire the expansive view. He turned to Emily, his heart heavy with the realization that looking back was essential if they wanted to move forward. "I've been thinking about my relationship with my past successes," he began, ushering the conversation into deeper waters. "While those accomplishments shaped my career, I often used them to hide from my own insecurities and fears." She nodded, her eyes understanding. "That resonates with me as well. I got lost in my desire to support you, to see you thrive, and in doing so, I lost sight of my own aspirations. I forgot what it meant to challenge myself." "Let's vow not to forget it again," he urged gently. "It's time to claim our lives back, to navigate through our strengths and weaknesses with intention." The sunlight glinted off the water, and in that moment it felt as if their conversation crystallized the resolve growing within each of them. "Matthew," Emily said, her voice gaining strength, "I want to find out what dreams I still carry, the dreams that have been overshadowed." The recognition of her aspiration ignited something profound in him. He remembered their shared love for art, the vibrant discussions about creativity they had once indulged in before ambition had crowded those spaces. "Let's carve time out for your artistic pursuits, just as I need to dedicate time to embracing my vulnerabilities." The decision crystallized like a renewed promise between them. They could each carve out moments to nurture what had lingered, waiting for acknowledgement after years of neglect. As they continued their walk, a sense of lightness enveloped them, riding the current of their words. They spoke at length about their aspirations, fears, and emotions that had been stifled for years. Each admission felt like shedding layers, an act of reclamation. The ritual of sharing became a tapestry woven from past strife and present resolve. Matthew recognized an internal shift as he opened up about his deep-seated fears, including the fear of inadequacy that had once driven him to extraordinary lengths. "Sometimes I scared myself with what I achieved, but nothing came close to what I truly desired: vulnerability. I want to experience richness in every corner of my life, not just at the hospital." Emily reached out, their fingers entwining in a silent vow of support. "You're not alone in that," she affirmed. "These dreams we're rediscovering feed into the relationship we once had and could still have." As they reached a bridge, a vivid panorama unfolded before them, a merger of the tumultuous river and the expanse of sky beyond. It felt like a metaphor for their journey, a tumult of emotions leading to new horizons. "Let's document our journey," he suggested suddenly, inspired by the vision before him. "Let's write down our goals and dreams, share them, and check in regularly on our progress." It struck Emily with vigor. "Yes, it will keep us accountable, but it will also serve as a reminder of where we came from, individually and as a couple." As they stood there, hand in hand, each could sense the weight of unchained possibilities enveloping them. Returning home, Matthew began to sit down with Emily in their modestly adorned living room, pulling out some blank journals he gathered during their walk. He could hardly contain the excitement coursing through him. This was more than a formality, it was a commitment to discovery, accountability, and love.
They spent hours filling the pages, exchanging notes on hopes long forgotten, wishes suppressed by the weight of their previous priorities. "Look at all these dreams," Emily marveled, a warm smile spreading across her face as their thoughts danced on paper. "This is our way of taking control of the narrative in a whole new light." Each line written connected past endeavors to future aspirations, creating a roadmap to navigate their transformative process. Hours flew by as laughter and conversation filled the air. At day's end, the defining moment settled around and within them, a sense of accomplishment that transcended mere academic accolades or surgical triumphs. They felt fortified by their commitment to rediscover each other and themselves. "You see," Matthew said, a newfound confidence present in his voice, "this journey has already begun to shift. By embracing our past and allowing ourselves to be seen, we're building something robust and beautiful." Now, both were poised not just to reclaim their dreams, but to solidify their connection. In taking those profound steps forward, Matthew felt a solid confidence replacing years of doubt. Not only did he prove his aptness as a surgeon, but he also demonstrated a commitment to love fully, one that intertwined ambition with vulnerability. The sun set beyond the horizon, and as daylight waned, Matthew understood with clarity that fortune favored those who dared to come alive. An exhilarating future awaited as they stepped into the brilliance of connectivity and transformation together. They would sculpt their lives anew, built upon nurtured aspirations, strengthened relationships, and a partnership solidified by shared vulnerability. Together, they were embarking on a journey of profound evolution, redefining what it meant to be truly alive. And in that moment, Matthew felt an immense surge of satisfaction, a palpable understanding that he was not only Dr. Matthew Reynolds, the best surgeon in the Midwest. He was a man boldly standing at the intersection of ambition and heart, prepared to face the growth that lay ahead. Now was the time to embrace every moment of joy, discovery, and authenticity offered in each brushstroke of life. It was the dawn of a vibrant new chapter, framed not just by dreams reignited, but by the honesty and commitment to pursue them together. If you feel inspired by Matthew and Emily's journey and the transformative power of love and vulnerability, here's what you need to do. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that inspire our hearts. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and theories about their transformation journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share the inspiration. Be part of the community that embraces personal growth and connection.